As the Manipur crisis enters its fourth month, the Chief Minister of Manipur is appealing for peace across the ethnic divide. I'm Barkha here with the Mojo story. Our relentless focus on the situation in Manipur, both on the ground and in our news analysis, continues. Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh, while inspecting the Independence Day parade, also made a speech where he asked for reconciliation between the warring Meitei and Kuki communities. Now, remember, Biren Singh's own role has come under a cloud, and many people believe that he's a chief minister who has lost credibility and moral authority. Nevertheless, at this Independence Day celebration, he appealed for peace, saying it was time to forgive and forget and move towards the future, move towards some sort of reconciliation. But is this possible? Who has the credibility and the trust of the people that can facilitate an actual dialogue between the two communities? Well, we're going to make that attempt on the program today, but also let's bring up images for you from Chura Chandpur. That's the area dominated by of course the Kuki community, where the sight of a full combat parade has also created a certain amount of debate. The Meitei groups are targeting the tribals for this display of arms. The Kuki groups are saying that these are village defense volunteers and what they're calling replica guns. The fact is, and I can say this after a week on the ground in Manipur, both sides are armed, whether it's farmers that we met in the Meitei community who are patrolling their villages at night with guns, or there are school-going students, college-going students in the trenches of the front line who are also armed with guns. In fact, more than 4,000 weapons are said to be today in civilian control. Is there a path ahead? Let's introduce our two guests on the program today as we talk about a possible way forward. Does that even exist? We thought that we would move away from the politicians and actually get you civil society voices. And so I want to welcome to the program Tirthankar Shetri Mayum. He describes himself as a concerned citizen of Manipur. Welcome to the program. And Sani Chongloy, she's a student and a UPSC aspirant. I think we can change these images now and also look at what's happening in Manipur overall. Can we come out of these images? And let me actually bring in first responses. Of course, I should say, and today one has to say this, one would never have had to say this earlier. We would have just said Tirthankar and Soni are both from Manipur. Tirthankar is from the Meitei community, Soni is from the Kuki community, and we're trying to facilitate a dialogue here. Now, let me start with you, Soni. You want to join the civil services. If you were a bureaucrat today, let's say you get into the UPSC and you were a bureaucrat today posted in Manipur in the middle of this conflict, what do you think a bureaucrat and official's role would be today that you have not seen perhaps happening in your home state?
I think, to be a bureaucrat, to be in power, I think we have to understand our responsibilities, even as a citizen or as a people in power, as a person in power. So, but in today's society, and especially in Manipur, we have seen that people are abusing the power. People are, are avoiding their responsibilities. People are abusing power. People are abusing people. So I think as a bureaucrat, it just, kind of questions the concept of being in power or what I could have done if I were in power, if I was in power. So if you really look at the, situation of Manipur right now, so like a lot of people, even me, I have lost hope in anything associated with anyone or anything associated with people in power.
You have lost hope and you have lost trust. And I will tell you that that is the one thing that I found in common between your two communities who otherwise don't agree on anything. People don't have trust in the police. They don't have trust in the state government. Both sides actually say this. Both sides have said repeatedly, we want the Prime Minister to come and visit us. Tirthankar, how do you feel today? You call yourself a concerned citizen. What concerns you the most about what's happening in your homeland?
First of all, Barka, thank you for inviting. It's very essential that people get to know what's the reality on the ground, for them to get their views, because channels like these actually tend to give a very unbiased view on what's happening on the ground, and that's one of the reasons why when my friend told me that you'd be getting in touch with me, I actually agreed to come because it's a
Thank
very
you.
sensitive topic, and
Yeah,
a lot of emotions are at play here, right? So
yeah.
thank you first of all for inviting me. What I would say is that there's always hope. I mean, one can never lose hope. We live because of hope, and the situation as of now today is very bad. I agree,
Yeah.
but there's always something which can be worked out to get back to where we were before, right? And it so the first thing is the blame game has to stop, because both the communities need to realize that something wrong has been done from both the sides, and that is where the situation is today, is because of that, right? So I think giving up on hope is the wrong message. I think there's always hope, and things can always get back to normal. That should be the first positive message that needs to go out to the community, right? Without hope, I think there's no point in even having this program, because the entire focus is to get things back to normal. And once it
Yeah.
is in normal, then for the like-minded people to come sit down and have a dialogue and sort it out. Because unfortunately, there are not many scholars who have done a lot of studies on the northeast of India. But one of the scholars that I follow keenly and agree to her views is Miss Rami Desai, as she's got a lot of good points where how the communities can come back together. So I think we
Yeah.
should always give hope a chance, and politicians will do what they have to do. It's not here only in Manipur; it's all over India. They will play their games, do what they have to do. But we, as public, have to understand the ulterior motive that they're going and playing, and not fall into the trap, right? And be
Yeah.
citizens
So,
and try to
so it's
work it
very
out.
so it's very interesting. You say, Tirthankar, let's not lose hope. Sonny says, I've lost hope. Let me, before I go any further, ask both of you your ages. Sonny, how old are you, if I may ask you?
I will be turning 23 this October.
23. And how old are you, Tirthankar?
40.
Tirthankar, how old are you?
I'm 40. I'm 40 years old.
Okay. The point is, you're both the new generation, despite a age gap between both of you. You're young, you're forward looking, and it's in your hands that the future lies. Now, I want to show you two sets of images, right? One is I went to a Meitei dominated village at night. And I met men who used to be rice farmers. I'll just show you those pictures. These men used to talk about pineapples till 3 months ago, right? And today they're holding these guns and they're patrolling at night. Their bunkers look pretty professional, their bunkers look fortified. And through the night, they say, we don't sleep, we take turns at night patrols. I asked them, don't you have any Kuki friends? One of them said, yes, the Kuki used to be my best friend. Even today, I talk to him, but we don't discuss the situation, right? So these are the Meitei community. This is a Meitei dominated village. Then I went to a Kuki dominated village and I saw somebody younger than Sonny in the trenches. I actually said to him, I said, your gun is bigger than you. I said to one of these boys, I said, which class are you in? He said, class 12. This is the boy. He said, I'm in class 12. Now, the reason I show you these images, and he actually wanted to join the Indian Army, like Sonny wants to join the civil services. The reason I show you both these images is because we have arms in the hands of civilians, right? And this is very dangerous. I know that there's been a lot of debate over, the Chura Chandpur Independence Day parade. The Meiteis say you've shown guns. The Kukis say they're replica guns. Those are the images. But they also got together there at that same function and played the national anthem with great gusto, defying the labeling of them as somehow being from outside. Now, I want to ask you, Sonny, where does the process of peace begin, especially as a woman today? We have seen rape, sexual violence being part of what's happening, but we've also seen women being at the front line of protests, women being at the front line of protests in both communities, whether it's the Meiteis or women, Kuki women blocking the road, in some cases, blocking the police and welcoming the army. So, Sunny, where does the process of peace begin?
I think peace will only prevail if the center takes immediate action. Because we have, like I said, it's not about losing hope completely, but we have lost hope completely in the government of Manipur. We have lost hope in the state forces, in the state government. So I think Central has the power. Central has the power to intervene and make things right. Like it's difficult for they're saying it's difficult for both sides, but I don't think so because valleys, Imphal valleys, lives are normal now. Schools have started, everything has started. But in the hilly areas, who have fled the Imphal valleys. They are not living normal lives. It will take us generations to recover from this trauma, from this loss. And I think peace will start. I think like I said, the hope part, it lies only on the central government now. If the central government does not intervene soon, I don't think peace is anywhere near.
So, Tirthankar, do you agree with that? And I ask you this because, it was my first trip to Manipur when I went to report this story. And I discovered that while I could travel from Imphal into, let's say, the hilly areas, and it took me about an hour with some blockades and checkpoints and all of that, there are bodies lying in the morgues of hospitals in Imphal. Many of them are from tribal families who used to live and work in Imphal, who believe they will be killed if they go back to Imphal. And there's been more than 3 months. This includes the body of an 84-year-old woman who could not see or hear, and she was killed. This includes the bodies of two women who were, according to their parents, tortured and killed and raped, and the bodies haven't come home. And of course, there has been suffering in your community. On the streets of Imphal, I met with a woman, a family looking for their missing children. They were sitting there on the streets. I think we have those pictures also, just holding the pictures of their children, and they fear that their children have actually been killed. Now, there you see those images. Now, again and again, I show you these images because I recognize that there has been suffering in both communities. But do you agree with Sonny that the state government cannot be the one to build bridges because the state government stands discredited today? Do you agree with that, or do you have a different opinion, Tirthankar?
No, I won't say the state government stands discredited. I think that would be the wrong word to say. But I would definitely say that the state government has not done enough to gain confidence of the general public.
Do you believe that the chief minister should be replaced? Tirthankar. Okay. All right. I think Tirthankar will reconnect. Let me, in the meantime, play out the Chief Minister's comment. He's barely been heard or seen in this crisis, but on Independence Day, he's speaking in Manipuri, but the essence of it is he's asking the people of both communities to forgive and forget. Listen in.
ꯃꯤꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤ ꯑꯁꯣꯏꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃꯁꯨ ꯂꯩꯇꯕ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ ꯑꯁꯣꯏꯕꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯔꯥꯟꯕꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯉꯥꯛꯅꯔꯒ forgive and forgetness ꯃꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯑꯣꯡꯗ ꯃꯤꯑꯣꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯐꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯕ ꯁꯥꯖꯠ ꯂꯤꯆꯠ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯎꯠꯂꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯍ꯭ꯌꯨꯃꯦꯅꯤꯇꯤ ꯁꯔꯚꯤꯁ ꯑꯊꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯄꯨꯟꯅ ꯇꯧꯃꯤꯟꯅꯔꯒ ꯍꯥꯟꯅꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯕ ꯃꯅꯤꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤ ꯁꯛꯇꯝꯗꯨ ꯍꯟꯖꯤꯜꯂꯛꯅꯕ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯃꯤꯟꯅꯁꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤꯃ ꯑꯩ
Tirthankar, you were saying that it's too much to say that the state government is discredited. Do you believe Biren Singh has done his job as chief minister?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He's done enough because I do believe that he could have stopped this when the initial violence started on the 3rd of May. If proper action was taken, it could have been stopped then and there. I think 3rd of May and 4th of May are the 2 days where either lack of commitment or not understanding the gravity of the situation, the state government did not take enough action to control the violence. So they could have done a lot more to make sure that the situation, is not what it is today, right? There I have to absolutely agree with the fact. But we also need to understand that, if you actually been following the reports here in Manipur, that the violence started in the border areas of Churchampur, and it came to the valley towards late in the evening, 3 or 4 hours later. So we really need to investigate, how and where this violence started and why did it reach this stage? And was the state government in a position to stop this violence or not? So I think before we point hands or fingers at anybody, we need to understand how it started. Was there enough done by the state machinery to get it under control? If not, then people who should have taken action, who did not take action, should be held responsible for what we are.
And that is, and so here is the problem, right? Nobody has even been punished. We are in a situation where this violence is entering its 4th month. No heads have rolled. and people are watching this. Now, Sunny, I want you to react to this. But before that, I've heard on the ground in Manipur and after that also many theories as to how the violence started. One refers to the court order that gives the Meitei people tribal status. The other refers to what turned out to be a fake news about sexual violence. The third talks about, and I've interviewed tribal leaders who say this, the fact that a secret accord was ready to be announced between the Modi government and Kuki insurgent groups that had suspended operations. This was going to give an autonomous territorial council to the Kuki people. I've also heard this. I've heard many different theories. Sunny, if we don't know how it started and who's responsible, or if no heads roll, can we forgive and forget, as the chief minister says? Can you forgive and forget?
I think, this is the part where we need to focus on the word forgive. Forgive for what? Forgive, are you apologizing? Are you making steps? Are you taking steps? Are you really sorry that you're asking for forgiveness, that we need to ask for forgiveness? Forget is something, it's far-fetched. It's a far-fetched idea. It's a far-fetched concept. Forget is something we can't, because just like I said before, it's going to take us generations to recover from this loss and trauma. And also, on the topic of who started it, when on 3rd of May, when the tribals organized a peaceful rally, unarmed peaceful rally, the Anglo-Kuki memorial, war memorial was burned. And then from that instant, the violence started. The outbreak of violence happened. And we have to understand that the rally was against the government, not against the people. As a citizen of India, we have the right to address our grievances. We have the right to, it's a fundamental right to assemble, organize a protest. So if we are addressing our grievances to the government, then why is the local people, why are the local people taking up arms and attacking us? So that is something we really need to look at.
Let me ask Tirthankar to respond to that. Tirthankar, depending on who you talk to, you get a very different account of what happened and why. I want you to respond to what Sunny has said.
These are all allegations from one community to the other community, and there is no hard facts on the ground to claim what the Meiteis want, or the version of the Meiteis or the version of the Kukis, right? And that's why I keep saying we need to investigate and understand how it started without pointing fingers. See, because the moment you start pointing fingers, it's a fact that wrong has been done to both the communities. There's no denying the fact. The Meiteis have suffered, the Kukis have suffered, and the suffering is of the public. The people who are in power, the politicians, they're staying somewhere in a very nice, fancy place, looking at how things are happening on the ground. They give their comments and they go back to their cozy beds. Nothing. People on the ground, the normal public, are the ones who are suffering and actually defending their own villages, be it the Kuki villages or be it the Meitei villages, right? So, and see, one of the main things, as you mature, you tend to understand is that there's a much larger play here. There's a much bigger force which is trying to disrupt the harmony that people are living here, and there's a lot of false propaganda. There's a lot of false information flying around, which needs to be sort of curtailed and understood. And for that, the center has to come up and take some decisive actions to make sure, number one, the violence is stopped, because only when the violence is stopped can there be a platform for peaceful talks, right? Everything needs to be sorted out peacefully. I mean, I can say I don't want peace, or somebody else can say I don't want peace, but without peace, there's no, somebody sitting on the table to discuss things out. And one of the things which baffles me is that I've seen a lot of interviews of Kuki scholars and intellects who say that they want a resolution before peace. Now, how is that possible? That's not even possible. You need to make sure that every aspect of the community and the different communities living together is taken into account.
So let me ask you before I get Sonny to respond to that. I want to ask both of you, what did you think of the no confidence debate that was supposed to be about Manipur, but a lot else was also spoken about? What did both of you feel about it? I'll start with you, Tirthankar. What did you feel about that debate?
Barkha, to be very frank, it was a joke. Any person who's been following him, you will understand that no confidence motion was an entire. I would put it as a great joke on the people of northeast of India. Also, the fact I would also like to point out that I see. I'm a person who sees development. I work in the corporate sector, so
Yeah.
development is very essential for healthy growth of a community and a state. And I've seen a lot of development over the past 5 years in Manipur. But the fact that the prime minister has not even said a single word for the past, I don't know, 80, 90 days of this violence, it's ridiculous. He
I
being
mean,
the head of the state.
he spoke at the Red Fort, he spoke in Parliament. That didn't satisfy you, Tirthankar?
He's Barkha, to be very frank, what did he speak about? Did he address the issues? Just by mentioning Manipur, if you mean that he's spoken something, I don't think it cuts it.
Let me ask Sonny the same question. Sonny, Tirthankar says the Parliament no confidence debate he felt was a joke. He's extremely agitated that the Prime Minister has not spoken more specifically on Manipur and took a long time to speak on it at all. How do you feel? What did you feel about the debate? Did you watch it?
Yes, actually, I will have to agree on that with him because they've been dodging this issue for the past 3 months now. They've been dodging, they've been ignorant, and they aren't taking enough steps, enough measure to control the situation. So I do think that they are. I don't know what's going inside their head, but I do think that they want power, but they don't really want to be responsible for it. Also, I would, like to respond to what he said earlier, on how you're saying, on how you talked about development. If you really see, we, the Kukis, who have fled the valleys and who are living in relief camps, who are living like refugees, we are deprived of the basic human rights. Our basic human rights, our basic fundamental rights are being violated, but still no action has been taken. We are demanding our rights. No, we don't want, it's okay. We have fled the valleys. It's okay. We're going to be in our hills. You have shown us our, that where we belong. That's okay. But how is the government still not responding? And how can you, and till today's last night I was on call with one of my cousins. There were still gunshots. We could hear gunshots. There were still, all these attacks happening in Kukis villages. And,
Now,
just like that,
yeah.
let me just finish it. And all these things, just like you talked about development, all these things are inhibiting our growth and development and our contribution to the Indian, to the Indian society as a citizen of India. So we
Okay.
really need to look at it.
I want to give both of you last comments now. I'll start with you, Tirthankar. If you could speak to the Prime Minister for 2 minutes, face to face, what would you say to him about Manipur? Tirthankar, I can't hear you. Give me a second. Is he on mute? Okay, we'll let me
Yeah.
start with Sunny. Yeah, Tirthankar, go ahead.
Yeah, so Barkha, I would just request the Prime Minister to give the due importance and time to solve this issue because I think it's solvable, and you need the right effort and the right. I would say seriousness to get this sorted out, and I'm sure they would be able to sort this out. It's just that I don't think he's giving the right attention.
Yeah. Sunny, if you could speak for 2 minutes to the Prime Minister, what would you say?
I would, I request, I'm even joining my hands right now. I want the Prime Minister to hear, to actually pay attention to what's really happening. We want separate administration. We can't go back there. If we step a foot in the valleys, we're gonna get murdered, we're gonna get killed, we're gonna get tortured. There's nothing left for us there. So I want our Prime Minister, to give us separate administration at the earliest, because we just can't. It's just too difficult there. We can't go back there.
I want to say to both of you that I have seen the suffering of the people of Manipur, the arms in the hands of young people on both sides, the de facto division, that you can't travel 50 minutes from point A to point B. A Meitei can't go into a Kuki community zone, a Kuki can't come into a Meitei community zone, and this is tragic. But the one thing that you do agree on in the end is that both of you want the Prime Minister to personally get involved. You are both disappointed by the quality of the parliamentary debate. You are both disappointed by the Prime Minister not more proactively and specifically taking initiative. I will just say that I hope that we can facilitate many such conversations, intra-Manipur conversations like the one we've attempted today. I think, can I ask both of you in the end, Tirthankar, do you have friends from the Kuki community, Tirthankar?
Barkha, in fact, I do have friends, and we were just talking, and we actually don't understand how it reached this situation, because none of us are aware what happened, how it happened, and how it came to this stage. So that's why I say, Barkha, people who are in the right frame of mind from both the sides need to understand that there are much bigger power at play here. We are just puppets that are being used for a higher or a bigger political agenda. The sooner we realize it, the better, for our own good. Because, for example,
I hope, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I hope there's a civil society initiative to start a dialogue like this. You wanted to give an example quickly, because I want to give Sunny the last word. Quickly.
Yeah, I just want to tell Sunny. Sunny said that, if I come to the valley, I'll be killed or whatever. I just want to say, in Churchandpur, as of today, there's not a single Meitei living in Churchandpur, but I can proudly say that there are still Kukis in Imphal Valley who are here staying and who are protected by the government. Okay,
let me tell Sunny to respond to that, and then I'll ask Sunny the same question before she responds. Do you have friends from quickly, Sunny, do you have friends from the Meitei community?
Yes, I have a lot of friends. We've gone to schools together. We have played together. We have eaten everything. I've got a lot of friends from the Meitei community.
Is it your hope that both of you can live integrated again one day? I know you have a political position on the separate administration, but human relationships can't break, right, so easily. Your friends are still your friends.
Yes, I have hope that we will live together as good neighbors. But no, we can't go back. We can't go back there.
Okay, I will have to leave it there. I hope this will be the first of many such intra-Manipur dialogues that we will try and enable. Thank you, Tirthankar and Sunny. In a moment of grief and pain, both of you were very civil. You were very polite. You held your own, but you didn't name call each other. And I thank both of you for that, for being so mature. And the future of Manipur rests in the hands of people like both of you. Thank you so much. Stay safe. And thank you for joining us. And to our audience, as always, thank you for watching. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.